Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the October 10th meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and I would like our County Prosecutor, Melissa Schiffel, please, to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Again, welcome, everyone. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my right is our Vice President, Jeff Benton. To my left, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, our Administrator, Tracy Davies, our Deputy Administrator, Don Houston, and our clerks, Sarah DeNovo and Jennifer Walworth. We can begin.
Resolution number 22-849, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held October 6, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 22-849. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment today. That brings us to item number 3, resolution number 22-850, in the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 1007.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 22-850. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-851, in the matter of a new liquor license request from JDFS JW LLC and forwarding to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with no objections and no request for a hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 22-851. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-852, in the matter of accepting and approving the Delaware County Sheriff's Office Transport Report for the month of August 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 22-852. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-853, in the matter of acknowledging receipt of annexation petition from agent for the petitioner, Michael R. Shade, attorney at law, requesting annexation of 107.55 acres of land in Delaware Township to the city of Delaware.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 22-853. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-854, in the matter of accepting the award for the Victims of Crime and State Victims Assistance Grant for Victim Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Nicole Ford with the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. The Delaware County Prosecutor's Office has once again been awarded the Victims of Crime Act and State Victims Assistance Act grants. These grants allow us to continue serving the victims of crime in our Delaware County community. It partially funds our Victim Services Director, Trish Wright, Victims Assistant, Megan Powell, and our Civil Protection Order Specialist, Meg Dillman. All of these positions and individuals are extremely vital to this division and Delaware County. We received the same reduced funding as last year. However, we will not allow this reduced funding to impact the victim of crimes across the county. We will continue to support and serve our community in the best way possible. We have been awarded $81,832.50, $15,945.29, which is a local match. The grant began October 1st, 2022, and will conclude on September 30th of 2023. We will again have the opportunity to renew next year, but we are unsure about the funding at that time.
Okay. Any questions? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-854. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-855, in the matter of approving a transfer of appropriations from the Victim Services Unit Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Again, Nicole Ford with the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. The Prosecutor's Office is requesting a transfer of appropriations from our Victim Services General Fund, Health Insurance, and OPRS portions to our Victim Services General Fund compensation portion. The reallocating of these funds should allow us to best use all of the funds budgeted.
Okay. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-855. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole.
Resolution number 22-856, in the matter of the Board of County Commissioners recognizing October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Delaware County.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Prosecutor Melissa Schiffel.
And Jeff Balzer, Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Office.
Thank
This
you.
is kind of a nice segue from what Nicole Ford was talking to you about, and one of our most served members of the victim class in Delaware County are our domestic violence victims. Along with the domestic violence victims that our office sees at the felony level, the Sheriff's Office has victim advocates that work at the municipal court level that serve domestic violence victims in our community as well. And so October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I think I've come before you the last 3 or 4 years asking for this very important proclamation. Our office started Domestic Violence Awareness Month by hosting our 2nd annual Volley Against Violence. We partnered with the Sheriff's Office and many, many other community partners, and all of the proceeds from that volleyball tournament went to serve Turning Point, which, as all of you know, is a local gem in our community that serves domestic violence victims and their family. The whole point of having the Volley Against Violence is to raise awareness, but it is also to help Turning Point combat some of those funding cuts that Nicole Ford even told you about just a few minutes ago. As you're aware, the funding for domestic violence victims and for all victim services has been cut in the last couple of years by nearly 40%, and Turning Point has felt those cuts drastically, as have many other victim services providers that are community partners. But today we're here asking for this proclamation, but before I read it, I'll ask Chief if he wants to say anything.
Thank you. I just want to point out that Delaware County, we talk about this all the time, it's a great place to work, it's a great place to live, but that doesn't make us immune from domestic violence. Just this morning, I was talking to our victim advocates, which are in court. They've seen a recent uptick in domestic violence cases. This happens across a wide spectrum of our county. So it's something that's an ongoing need for us to address these issues, to try to interrupt that cycle, to partner with our agencies. Turning Point's a great example, to try to help these folks to stop that cycle of violence. So it's a very important issue for us.
So if you will allow me, I will read the proclamation.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Whereas the Board of Delaware County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio recognizes that domestic violence happens in every county in our great nation, and whereas domestic violence is blind to gender, race, age, and socioeconomic status, it can affect anyone at any time, and whereas the Delaware County community is dedicated to supporting those affected by domestic violence and abuse of any kind, we want victims to know they are not alone, and whereas the Board of Delaware County Commissioners of Delaware County is proud to have many programs and organizations in Delaware County dedicated to helping victims heal from abusive situations. Love should not hurt. Now, therefore, we/you, the Board of Delaware County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio, do hereby recognize October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Delaware County.
Oh, thank you for reading that, Prosecutor. Let's take a vote.
Vote on motion 22-856. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Also, we have lapel pins for the commissioners, if I may.
We love pens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lewis, I have a couple comments.
Yes, please.
First of all, I think the phrase "love should not hurt" kind of says it all. I'm not sure love is always there, but the point is made through that statement that the perception of love sometimes may not really exist, but because I can't imagine why somebody who loves somebody would commit physical actions like that. But very happy to support this, and I feel really a lot of empathy for all those who are affected by it. So I want to say that. And I do have another statement unrelated, but if there's any related statements on this, first.
I didn't really have a statement, but I had a question. We're 2.5 years roughly into the pandemic. What have you seen in those 2.5 years pre-pandemic to today?
So, the numbers don't tell the whole story, right? Because during the pandemic, we know for sure there were victims of crime who couldn't get away from their abuser simply by the nature of what was going on. We have child victims included in that, as well as adults. And so we are starting to see people more comfortable, more coming out and reaching out. I will tell you that the biggest indicator of that is When I recently spoke with the president of Turning Point, our Delaware County facility is nearly at capacity, meaning that victims and their families are finally able to get away from their abusers, and they need that wonderful community resource like Turning Point to help them. So I feel like just now starting to see the effects of what it was for those victims who were confined to be with their abuser.
I agree. I think it was a matter of underreporting, that during that time where our statistics for domestic violence may have dropped somewhat during the pandemic, it just meant that people didn't feel comfortable reporting it if they're all together like that, and we've seen that go back and change at this point.
And oftentimes, abuse is reported because of a loved one or a professional associate or a teacher or someone who observes the physical, markings, or even just that the person has changed and engages in a conversation with their friend. And during the pandemic, those relationships were uprooted, right? So we didn't necessarily have that third party watching out for friends and family, but we do now. So.
Boy, I just, you deal with this day in and day out, both you, Prosecutor Schiffel, in chief, with all you do to help people, and then Turning Point being such a great resource. It's thank heavens we have it. I can't thank you enough for all you do.
Well, I'm very thankful to have commissioners like you that support us and our mission, support our law enforcement, and back our blue that are out there, as we know that domestic violence calls are one of the leading reasons that law enforcement officers are murdered, is when they are responding to a domestic violence call. So I thank you for your support, both publicly and financially. And also, we couldn't do it without victim services.
That's right.
Including Trish Wright, who's the director, and everyone else that supports what they do with the victims. They support victims even when we can't prosecute the crime. So they're there for them from the very beginning until the very end.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lewis.
Sure.
The Turning Point was mentioned. Realize 4 or 5 years ago, we didn't have Turning Point in our county. We're talking about already
Yes.
close to capacity.
Yep.
I would also encourage, if you have children's clothing or women's clothing, it's a great place to drop off clothing that they can really use. And we've done it several times, and I would encourage anybody to do that.
Yes.
And with that, I want
That's
to change the topic slightly.
That's a great point.
Prosecutor Schiffel, do you know of any special events that could be occurring to the person standing next to you over the weekend?
Yes, actually, we are hosting a Back the Blue rally. It's being held at Liberty Park in Powell, Ohio, and it is to support our men and women in law enforcement, including all of the officers, but also their families. As a wife of a police officer, I know how vitally important it is to back the blue at home, so that when they go to do their job, they can do their job to protect their community and know they're coming home.
There's another event yesterday. There's a special event yesterday, Sunday, I believe. It was a birthday. Am I correct on that?
I missed that.
Yes, that snuck by also.
Happy birthday.
Say happy
Can we
birthday.
sing to him?
No, that's
If you want to lead it.
But to switch back to the Back the Blue, that is a wonderful event. The first time I attended, it was amazing to me, the number of deputy sheriffs and police officers I saw that were in the crowd. They kind of wanted to see what it was about. And as they sat back there and they heard the speakers talk, just nodding their heads that they felt supported. And I almost, again, I tout all the time about what a great place it is to work and live in Delaware County, but I also think about our folks who live in Delaware County, the federal officers, the Columbus police officers. We've got a lot of folks who work down there and live up here. And to show them that they have that support, it's very important for all of us. So thank you.
Before we take our picture, what time is Back the Blue again?
10:30, and we're blessed to have Attorney General Yost as our speaker again, and he should be taking the stage at 11:15.
All right.
You want to restate the location?
Liberty Park and Powell.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a feeling we're all going to be there. I know I will. Okay, we'll take a picture.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
Okay.
Item number 10, resolution number 22-857, in the matter of approving the public notice invitation to bid for Court Street demolition and parking lot.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, John Melvin, Director of Facilities. Alas, we have the plans and specs together to ready to go out to bid for the demo of the 22 Court Street building and the construction of a parking lot there.
I'm smiling. You're probably tired of me asking about that.
No, it's been too long in the works.
How many parking spaces would we end up?
Unfortunately, with the generator garage has to remain there, so we're only going to need about 9 spots.
Okay. When's it gonna happen?
I don't have a time schedule yet. Bids will be due in November. Obviously, they can mobilize on the demolition, but we're going to probably miss that date for the blacktop asphalt plants to close. So imagine they'll be completed spring of next year.
Yeah. Think it'll go pretty fast?
Pretty fast. There is with that generator shed staying there, there's a grade change. So they have to put in a shoring wall. So doing that
We
shoring.
probably had to do that anyway because the drop.
Yeah,
in
because of the
anyway.
grade. It'll be at a separate grade than the lower lot, so there'll be an entrance there off of Court Street. So that was a little bit of the difficulty engineering that retaining wall and actually how to install it with maintaining the integrity of that generator shed.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-857. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-858, in the matter of approving a transfer of appropriations for land and buildings and a supplemental appropriation for the county service center.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
It's getting towards the end of the budget year, so we have to transfer some money around in lands and buildings. We had a couple open custodial staffs for better than half the year, so we have some salaries and health insurance that we can move over to materials and supplies and services and charges under that line item. Our maintenance crew is at full staff, and our custodial staff is at full staff now, so we're able to get caught up on a lot of the maintenance items, so they're able to get some additional work. The supplemental appropriation is for the service center, and that is strictly because of the cost of fuel this year. In '21, the average price for gasoline was $2.52, and gasoline was $2.86 for the year. I budgeted $2.60 and $2.90 for this year, and so far the average cost for gasoline has been $3.39, and diesel has been $4.26. Gasoline price today I checked has kind of gone down a little bit, but diesel prices have escalated.
Well, gas is going about 70 cents in the last week.
Yeah, but I checked the index pricing, and today it's starting to fall back down a little bit, but
And I want to
diesel
thank
is
our
spiking.
president for making this possible.
Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-858. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. Thanks, Joan.
Resolution number 22-859, in the matter of reappointing a member and appointing a member to the Millstone Community Authority Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. With this, we would like the Millstone Community Authority, we recommend reappointing Sarah DeNovo and appointing Julie Dacko to replace Marissa Stith, who will be passing off the board.
Okay. Thank you for serving, Sarah. And I'm sure Julie will enjoy this. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-859. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-860, in the matter of reappointing members to the Berlin Meadows New Community Authority Board of Trustees and the Liberty Grand New Community Authority Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This one, we're able to do a twofer because it's the same people serving on both the Berlin Meadows and the Liberty Grand New Community Authorities. We recommend reappointment of Tiffany Mag as the citizen member for both, and then Tracy Davies as the local government representative to both.
Okay. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-860. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-861, in the matter of approving a permit for the use of Delaware County facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a annual request that we have before us for our Veterans Day event ceremony that takes place. We'll also be making the historic courthouse, which would ordinarily be closed on a federal holiday, open for tours for any of the veterans who are interested in taking one. And this obviously will be on November 11th and 11
I
a.m.
assume they're coordinating with the city to close the street as we've done in past years?
Yes, they know they have to do that.
Okay, vote please.
Vote on motion 22-861, Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution
Thank you.
number 22-862, in the matter of approving an owner's agreement for Berkshire Crossing, Wilson Road, Turn Lane, and Rabbit Run.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes,
Boy,
good morning,
where do
Commissioners.
they get these names?
Pardon me?
Where do they get the street names? Yeah.
Well, you can thank the developers for those
The
primarily.
developers,
I
that's
probably
what
saw a
I,
rabbit run
that's what I
across the
thought.
road and said, let's name it Rabbit Run.
There you go. Well, that's
Yeah.
not actually the
They said
name.
rabbit- huh?
And that's not actually the name of the road. That's actually the name of the development.
Oh,
We
okay,
received
the
the name of the
development.
road further through the discussionary interactions for the owner's agreement. If you will, this is a twofer as well that was mentioned earlier. Berkshire Crossing, that's for the construction of a turn lane off of Wilson Road into Berkshire Crossing. It leads to 56 buildable lots off of Wilson Road near North Galena Road in Berkshire Township. And for Thea Lane, which is the roadway into Rabbit Run development, which services 12 buildable lots off of Liberty Road, just south of Hardin Road in Liberty Township. Both of these projects include all required improvements, and both will be inspected for possible acceptance consideration by the engineer's office, and we would recommend your approval.
Okay, vote please.
Vote on motion 22-862, Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-863, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Commissioners, this is for 5 standard utility permits with nothing out of the ordinary to share.
Okay, vote please.
Vote on motion 22-863, Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-864, in the matter of establishing a maintenance bond and releasing construction bond for Pyatt Preserve, Section 2.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Commissioners, this is for the release of the construction bond in the amount of $1,074,300 and to put into place a maintenance bond for the amount of $107,500 for the Pyatt Preserve Section 2 that serves 22 buildable lots off of Pyatt Road between Cheshire Road and Berlin Station Road in Berlin Township. All required inspections have, to this point, have been conducted and have been accepted, and we would recommend your approval.
Okay, vote please.
Vote on motion 22-864, Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-865, in the matter of approving a drainage maintenance petition and a ditch maintenance assessment for Oaks at Big Walnut.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Commissioners, for your consideration, the developers filed this petition. It includes 58.213 acres and would consist of 14 buildable lots. It's at the intersection of Ross Road and Boston Road in Trenton Township, and we would recommend your approval of this petition to accept this on the county drainage maintenance program.
Okay, vote please.
Vote on motion 22-865, Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-866, in the matter of accepting the roads, approving recommended speed limits, establishing stop conditions, and releasing securities for Evans Farm, Section 2, Phase A, Part 1, and Berlin Manor, Section 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Commissioners, we'll take Evans Farm, Section 2, Phase A, Part 1 first. This would be for the addition of .29 of a mile to Pyatt Road, the addition of .20 of a mile to Hickory Road, and the addition of .09 mile to Mulberry Lane to be accepted into the public roadway system at 25 miles per hour. This also includes the stop conditions at the intersection of Hickory Drive and Linden Street, and at the intersection of Mulberry Lane and Hickory Drive. Just to refresh your memories, this area consists of 26 lots within the Evans Farm development off of Lewis Center in Orange Township.
Okay, vote please.
Vote on motion 22-866, Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Okay, well, I thank you, Commissioners,
Thank you.
and have a great day.
You
Thanks,
too.
Lee.
Item number 20, we are considering the one that is on the separate piece of paper there. Resolution number 22-867, in the matter of approving the Delaware County Board of Commissioners' letter of support in establishing a cost-based Medicaid ambulance supplemental payment program for the state of Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Fischel, Director of EMS Delaware County. Before you, you have a letter of support for the State of Ohio Medicaid Department to establish a ambulance supplemental payment program. Currently in the State of Ohio, to transport a Medicaid patient, the ambulance provider that transports the patient loses a significant amount of money as far as operating costs versus revenue. With this program, it would have no additional cost to the state itself, no additional cost to taxpayers, and the federal government would be responsible for reimbursing a large portion of the lost revenue after a Medicaid patient is transported. I'm asking that this letter be sent to the Director of Medicaid, Maureen Corcoran, Representative Sean Stevens, Representative Chris Jordan, and Senator Andrew Brenner. And I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
And I believe this was discussed in the pre-hospital care board too. And what are others doing on this again?
Yes, sorry, I failed to mention that. This was brought up in the pre-hospital care board, spoke about in the pre-hospital care board, and then the letter was emailed to all the members of the pre-hospital care board with hopes that they will bring it to either their city council or their township trustees to also get a letter of support sent. And then as far as EMS services across the state, there are counties and EMS districts across the state who are having their elected officials sign letters of support as well.
Great, good. Happy to support it. Any other comments? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-867. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 22-868, in the matter of establishing the 2023 health, dental, and vision insurance employee cost share and establishing a surcharge for special health insurance coverage.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dawn Houston, Deputy Administrator, and this resolution will approve the employee costs for health insurance, prescription drug coverage, dental, and vision for 2023. You remember last month we approved the plan designs through SEBCO. We're moving our vision and dental plans remaining with Delta Dental and VSP, but we will have them through SEBCO at much better rates and improved plan designs, really saving employees money out of their paychecks if they choose to elect dental and vision coverage. We had a much more favorable renewal with SEBCO than what we had originally thought. Our rates went up by 4%, which is very, very good, considering where we started at the pre-renewal. And we're always looking at ways that we can continue to have a very good health benefits plan design for our employees and their covered dependents. We will be remaining with the same plan design that we currently have in 2023. So again, a very favorable plan design for our employees and their families. This resolution would increase the employee contribution for health and prescription drug coverage from our current 12% to 12.5%. We would also be recommending that we increase the wellness rebate from $300 and $600 to $408 and $804 for those employees and their covered spouses that completed successfully the wellness program. The surcharge for those non-completers would remain the same at $300 and $600. And we would be looking at increasing the spousal surcharge from $50 a month to $75 a month. When we look at specific examples in terms of what these costs will be for our employees, with the increase in the wellness rebate, and then also the better rates that we have with vision and dental through SEBCO, in many instances, employees will be paying less for their coverage in 2023. So we believe that this is a very good benefits package for employees next year and would recommend your approval. If you have any questions, or Tracy, if there's anything that I missed.
No, just to thank you and your team and our consultant, Tony Donahue, for all her work on this. Without all of your work, these rates would not be possible, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. Takes an awful lot of work to put this plan together. It's an excellent one. Any other comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And this, I think everyone, as they get the numbers and see them from, in this inflationary environment, everybody should be very, very pleased where we came in. You know, Commissioner Benton serves on the SEBCO board. I think we should acknowledge that, and the role he played indirectly in this through his SEBCO board. But I think everybody should be very pleased, and it's always a tough thing when we have to sit down and go through this. A lot of work went into it, and I think we got a really good result, and our employees will benefit from that. So, my comments.
I would
Commissioner
agree.
Benton.
Yeah, I think Dawn covered it all very well, and in this inflationary environment, to have a 4% increase is actually very good, and very good compared to what we initially had received as our preliminary estimate. And then again, switching to SEBCO's vision and dental is a smart move, offering very good coverages and at a significant discount to what the employees would pay and the county would pay on their own. So again, I would encourage all employees to look into participating in the vision, dental, and healthcare. And then there's so many different combinations that you can't just say, here's the increase or here's the decrease. There's a lot of changes, a lot of moving parts, so please look into it. And I want to thank Dawn and the team. This is a complicated area. And Tony, I know our consultant, is a huge help. So again, thank you all for your work on this. And yeah, I think we continue to maintain a very good plan for our
Yes,
employees, which is very important.
absolutely.
But still be cognizant of the need for fiscal discipline for our taxpayers. So yeah, I think this strikes a very good balance.
And participating in our wellness program will be even, actually, it's going to be a lot easier
Yeah,
this year.
smoother,
So I would
easier.
urge everyone to do it.
Yeah.
Much easier.
Yeah, we'll be announcing those changes here shortly.
Okay.
We will also have open enrollment meetings where employees and their dependents can attend if they choose. Those will be on October 24th, 25th, and 26th, several different times that hopefully are convenient for employees. Will be recording one of those sessions, so if they're not able to attend, then the video will be available for them. And then open enrollment will start on October 24th and go through that next week and end on November 4th. So employees will have plenty of time to get into Employee Navigator and make their open enrollment selections.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Commissioner Benton, for serving on the SEBCO board. It requires a heck of a lot of time.
It does, and it's interesting. I mean, it's a great board. It's a great organization that was formed 20 years ago-ish, and very well capitalized, very well run, well led. You know, looking at a lot of new ideas as well down the road to address the challenge of providing healthcare, good healthcare benefits to our employees. But it's constant. It's just the pressure is just enormous. So.
How many counties in Ohio?
There are
members?
43, I think, as of
Okay.
this date. There was a 44th that was contemplating joining, and we
Okay.
might lose one. So
Okay.
I think next year it'll be about 43.
Okay.
So right around half of the
About half,
counties. I think on Corsa, it's about
66.
2/3, isn't it? 3/4? Yeah, so
Yeah.
3/4. But it's growing. When I started, it was 35, now it's up to 43.
Oh, okay.
So I think the
It's a good
counties
deal for the
recognize that
counties.
it's a good plan.
Right,
And it's well led, well funded, well capitalized, I mean, very well capitalized.
Great.
We've addressed the capital surplus a little bit in the last few years to reduce
Yes.
that a little bit by helping the counties get through some of the bigger increases.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things we've tried to establish is capital thresholds that are more modest
Right.
instead of so high.
Giving the money back.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's the counties created this and have funded it all the way through, and the capital levels are high, and so we needed to return some of that capital to the counties, which we've accomplished in the last couple of years.
Boy.
Good stewardship of CCAO and SEPCO on this makes this possible, so.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Vote on motion 22-868. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
That brings us to administrator reports.
I just wanted to mention that as of now, we are scheduled to have our Transportation Improvement District meeting on Wednesday morning. I don't know yet if we have agenda items, but tentatively it's set for Wednesday morning. And that's all I have.
And I have nothing to
And
report. Thank you.
Right. I think it's Commissioner Merrill.
I only really have one thing. The other, let's say, part of the SEPCO is CORSA board, and we had a retreat last Thursday, Friday. It was a very long day on Thursday and a half a day on Friday, and that's the other side of the equation. The property values increasing, and some of the liability areas and some of the areas such as sheriff's departments around the state really affecting that, but we're working to try to be as responsive as we can, but it's a challenge, and there are 66 counties in the state. The urban counties really don't fit the model because their needs are much different than the other counties, so you can almost exclude those from the consideration. So, but that's all I have.
It's interesting, and you mentioned that in SEPCO, it's the urban counties don't participate either. And we're the largest county that's in SEPCO.
Yeah.
You know, we're not anywhere near what would be considered an urban county. So interesting that they go their own
Yeah.
direction, basically. They're big enough,
They can handle it themselves.
Yeah. Just a couple of things. The MORPC Executive Committee meeting we had on Thursday. We finalized the dues process. We're going to experience a little bit of an increase. What was interesting was that they go through this very detailed calculation of population increases from year to year to assess member dues. And what they estimated was that the counties that they cover, the population went up 5,000 people from 2020 to 2021, and they estimated that Delaware County's population went up 5,000 people. So I think the message is that, you know, we're a big factor in Central Ohio's growth. So again, it's not good news when they allocate the dues because we get bigger increase than everybody else. But anyway, it was interesting. Megan O'Callahan, the new Dublin city manager, is having a reception tonight. I'll be going to that. Interested to say hi to her, congratulate her, and that's it.
Okay. We do have need for executive.
We do. Resolution number 22-869, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment and compensation of a public employee or a public official for pending or imminent litigation, for security arrangements and emergency response protocols, and to consider economic development confidential information.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 22-869. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. We're now recessed into executive session.